Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. You may have heard by now that Conor Benn has handed in his licence to the British Boxing Board of Control. They were due a hearing today. I think they upheld the findings, but Ben voluntarily gave up his licence, which I suppose it's one of those cases of, well, if you're going to push me, I'd rather jump. But the one thing that really struck me was that this reminded me, and I'm going back a long, long way because I can, Nigel Benn. I think it was following the Doug DeWitt fight. He was on national television, on ITV, if memory serves, and he ripped up his border control licence because he felt they weren't supporting him. They turned down opponents. I can't remember whether there was some debate over an opponent. This is a long, long time ago. This is 30 plus years ago. But Ben, I think it was following the DeWitt when he ripped up his licence. And so, like father, like son. Now, of course, his son is just saying, okay, I'll throw the towel in, so to speak. Interesting development. And of course, the obvious question is, well, why did Conor do that? Is this a sign of some sort of guilt? Or is it a case of jumping before you're pushed? Or is it a case of feeling hard done by? He still swears that he's innocent. Obviously, they can't say too much if there's sort of legal ramifications, because Eddie Hearn's been interviewed and he claims that you can't say too much, but it'll all come out in the wash. And you can't say things. You can't say all that you want to if there is an outstanding set of legal issues going on. If this is going through the courts, I got to be honest. I'm one of those people. I'd rather wait until the dust settles. I mean, we can all pontificate about it and say, well, this happened, that happened. Look, I think bottom line is, I think it's a bad thing that Ben has given up his licence. I think it's a real shame. I think it's a shame when any British fighter does that. Just as I felt when I saw, Nigel Benn rip up his licence rather when on TV. I was thinking back then, oh, that's a shame. Are we going to get the fight? But of course, things got smoothed over and Ben got his licence back. I don't know whether actually ripping up the piece of paper, which is what Ben did, Nigel Benn, this is. I don't know whether that actually gets you out. You might still have a licence. It's just that might just be a piece of paper. I don't know. But Conor Benn certainly has given up, has rescinded his British Boxing Board of Control licence. So when is he going to fight next? I mean, Eddie Hearn has talked about, well, he can fight overseas. Obviously means under different licences. Yeah, anyone can do that. I mean, look at Danny Williams. Danny Williams is still fighting on, I think it's a Latvian licence. Lithuanian licence? I think it's a Latvian licence. And, he should have retired 15 years ago. And God only knows the sort of damage he's done to his body, his neurology. But you still see him cropping up in some ultra obscure place and getting knocked out in a couple of rounds by some guy he would have stood on his head in 30 seconds in his prime. A very sad business. So anyone at all can get a licence from somewhere. Gerard Miller is another one. The walking pharmacy guy. I mean, it's just the Wild West, isn't it, boxing? And it's not good. It's not good for the health of the fighters. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for anyone. It just makes a laughing stock of this sport. But some of us continue to love it. I remember my grandfather saying to me, "There's no such thing as the good old days." When I was moaning about various things, he'd say, "No, there's no such thing as the good old days." So I'm not going to say that things were, better in my day. They weren't. They weren't better. There's always been skullduggery. There's always been, corruption in boxing. Always, go back to Blinky Palermo, and in America it's the mob running the show, and now it's, of course, the corruption is more subtle. It's not brown envelopes stuffed with cash under tables being handed on tables. Yeah, it's more subtle. It's not even necessarily illegal. I mean, you can be corrupt and do things legally. When we talk about corruption, we're talking about breaking rules. But if there are no rules, people can still be exploited. People can be exploited with rules. There's always going to be plenty of scope for corruption, for all sorts of double standards, all sorts of injustices, if you like. It's a shame. It's just a shame. And I think this business with Ben and Eubank is such a disaster, a PR disaster. And it's a horrible business. And, you know, then of course there's, you know, Chris Eubank Jr., the way he looked in that photograph when he boiled himself down, I think it was 159. He looked like a, emaciated, he looked terrible. Maybe, with the benefit of hindsight, it's best that that fight didn't go ahead. I don't know. I was never into it. When they announced that fight, I thought this is a novelty fight. They're just feeding off their father's names. It's a welterweight, small welterweight coming up to fight a very big middleweight. And I was never that into the fight. I just thought it was a gimmick fight. I'd have probably watched it, but with the benefit of hindsight, you know, the mere mention of it, it's not a good thing, is it? Anyway, leave your comments below. Conor Benn gives back his license. Where's he going to fight next? What do you think's next for Conor Benn? Because I'm damned if I can work it out. I don't know what he's going to do. I think there's going to be a protracted legal case that will probably be settled, not with any great, you know, not comprehensively. I think they'll come to an agreement, so to speak. And then I think probably he'll continue his career, whether it'll be in Britain or not. I don't know. Maybe he'll go to Dubai. Maybe he'll fight in Dubai. Will DAZN keep him on? Will Eddie Hearn keep him on? What will the result be of that case? I just don't know. I think we have to wait for the dust to settle. But leave your comments below. What do you think's going on? Yeah, help me out here. Leave your comments and tell me what you think. And yeah, thanks for watching as always. Subscribe if you're new. We'll speak again soon. Meantime, take care of yourselves. Bye for now.